The invasion begins. The night sky over New Tokyo glittered with stars, a view Commander Akira Tanaka never tired of from the observation deck of Orbital Defense Station Sentinel-1. His reverie was interrupted by a sudden flash of red on the main display. "Commander, multiple anomalies detected at the edge of the system," reported Lieutenant Chen, her voice tense. Akira's training kicked in instantly. "Sound General Quarters. Get me a visual." The main screen flickered to life, showing a swarm of sleek, dark shapes emerging from what appeared to be tears in the fabric of space itself. Akira's blood ran cold. This was no scheduled arrival of a trading fleet or diplomatic envoy. "Send emergency alert to Earth Defense Command," Akira ordered. "Unknown vessels have entered the system. This is not a drill." As klaxons blared throughout the station, Akira watched in horror as the alien ships accelerated toward Earth with impossible speed. Before Sentinel-1 could even bring its main weapons online, the first wave of attackers was upon them. Lances of searing energy sliced through the station's armor like tissue paper. Akira was thrown to the deck as explosions rocked the structure. Through the chaos of shouted orders and screams of the wounded, he heard Chen's voice rise in panic. "They're targeting population centers. Multiple impacts detected in Asia, Europe, and North America." Akira pulled himself to his feet, ignoring the blood trickling from a gash on his forehead. "What about our planetary defenses?" Chen shook her head, her face ashen. They're not even slowing them down, sir." As Sentinel-1 began to break apart around them, Akira made a decision. "Abandon station. Get to the escape pods. We have to warn whoever's left." The journey to Earth's surface was a nightmare Akira would never forget. He watched helplessly from the tiny viewport of his escape pod as city after city was reduced to ash by the relentless alien bombardment. By the time his pod splashed down in the Pacific, the world he knew had ceased to exist. Akira was pulled from the wreckage by a team of Marines, their faces grim beneath their helmets. As he was rushed to awaiting transport, he caught glimpses of the devastation, smoke-filled skies, crumbling buildings, and crowds of shell-shocked survivors stumbling through the ruins. "Commander Tanaka." A stern-faced woman in a general's uniform approached as Akira was helped aboard the transport. "I'm General Sarah Hawthorne. We're gathering all surviving military personnel at Mount Cheyenne. You're one of the few who saw the enemy up close. We need everything you know." As the transport lifted off, weaving between columns of smoke that once been proud cities, Akira nodded grimly. "They came out of nowhere, General. No warning, no attempts at communication. They just started killing." Hawthorne's jaw tightened. "Any idea why? What do they want?" Akira shook his head. "I wish I knew. But one thing's clear. They're not here to negotiate. This is extermination." The flight to Cheyenne Mountain was tense, the cabin filled with the wounded and the grieving. Akira's mind raced, trying to make sense of the horrors he'd witnessed. As they approached the fortified entrance to humanity's last bastion, he turned to Hawthorne. "What's our status? How bad is it?" The general's face was a mask of controlled fury. "Bad. We've lost contact with most major cities. Military installations worldwide have been hit hard. But the worst," she paused, taking a shuddering breath. "They specifically targeted schools, hospitals, anywhere with high concentrations of children. We're looking at millions of casualties, mostly kids." Akira felt bile rise in his throat. "My God, why?" "That's what we need to figure out," Hawthorne replied as they disembarked. "And fast, because right now, humanity is on the brink of extinction." The heart of Cheyenne Mountain was a hive of frantic activity. Soldiers rushed to and fro, scientists huddled over banks of computers, and shell-shocked civilians who'd been caught in the base during the attack sat in stunned silence. Akira was quickly ushered into a briefing room where the remnants of Earth's military and political leadership had gathered. The atmosphere was tense, bordering on panic. "Ladies and gentlemen, General Hawthorne began, her voice cutting through the murmur of anxious voices. I won't sugarcoat this. We are facing an extinction-level threat, but we are not dead yet. A haggard-looking man Akira recognized as the U.S. Secretary of Defense spoke up. What are our options, General? Can we negotiate? Hawthorne shook her head. Given their tactics and the deliberate targeting of children, I think we have to assume diplomacy is off the table. This is about survival now. But how? A Chinese general demanded. Their technology is centuries beyond ours. We can't even scratch their ships. Maybe not yet, Hawthorne conceded. But we have one advantage. They don't think we're a threat. They're not being careful. Commander Tanaka, please share what you observed. Akira stepped forward, all eyes turning to him. Their attack was overwhelming, but not particularly strategic. They relied on brute force and superior technology. There were gaps in their formations, patterns we might be able to exploit. A spark of hope ignited in the room. Hawthorne nodded approvingly. Exactly. We need to pool every resource we have left, every scientist, every scrap of alien tech we can salvage. We find their weaknesses and we hit them hard. As the meeting progressed, plans began to take shape. Underground factories would be established to produce new weapons based on recovered alien technology. A global network of resistance cells would be organized to gather intelligence and stage guerrilla attacks. And most crucially, a last-ditch plan to evacuate as many humans as possible to a hidden colony should Earth fall. As the session concluded, Akira found himself approached by Dr. Yuki Sato, a brilliant physicist he'd worked with on previous projects. Commander, she said, her eyes bright with a mix of fear and determination. I have an idea. It's risky, maybe even crazy, but I think I might know a way to turn their own technology against them. Akira felt a glimmer of hope for the first time since the invasion began. I'm listening, Doctor. At this point, crazy might be exactly what we need. As they huddled over hastily drawn schematics, the first seeds of humanity's fight back were sown. The road ahead would be long and bloody, but Earth would not fall without a fight. The aliens had made a grave mistake in underestimating human resilience and ingenuity. They were about to learn just how dangerous a cornered humanity could be. Operation Phoenix. The underground bunker of Cheyenne Mountain hummed with nervous energy. 6 months had passed since the devastating alien attack, and humanity was finally ready to strike back. Commander Akira Tanaka stood before a holographic display, surveying the Galactic fleet they'd managed to cobble together. Operation Phoenix, General Hawthorne announced, her voice carrying across the command center. Our first major offensive against the swarm. The name humanity had given their enigmatic enemy sent a chill down Akira's spine. The swarm, a fitting moniker for the relentless, insectoid aliens that had nearly wiped out Earth's population. Dr. Yuki Sato stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The reverse-engineered shielding is holding stable on all ships. But remember, we're pushing this tech to its limits. One direct hit from their main cannons will still vaporize a cruiser. Akira nodded grimly. Then we don't get hit. Echo Squadron, you're on point. Use the gravity slings we've set up in the asteroid belt to build up speed. Hit them hard and fast. As the commanders dispersed to their ships, Akira felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see General Hawthorne, her face etched with lines of worry and sleepless nights. Godspeed, Commander, she said softly. The hopes of humanity ride with you. The journey to the edge of the solar system was tense. Akira's flagship, the Phoenix, led a flotilla of ships that would have been impressive 6 months ago. Now they seemed painfully inadequate against the might of the swarm. As they approached Neptune's orbit, the sensors lit up. Multiple swarm signatures detected, Lieutenant Chen called out. They're harvesting the gas giant. Akira leaned forward, studying the alien formation. Massive ships were siphoning material from Neptune's atmosphere, their purpose unclear, but undoubtedly sinister. All ships, Execute attack pattern Omega, Akira ordered. Echo Squadron, commence your attack run. The battle erupted in a dazzling display of energy weapons and explosions. Human ships darted between the lumbering swarm harvesters, their newly acquired shields flickering under the onslaught. "It's working," Chen exclaimed. "Their point defenses can't track our speed." For a moment, hope surged through the fleet. Then, a massive shape emerged from Neptune's swirling clouds. A swarm hive ship, dwarfing even their largest harvesters. "Evasive maneuvers," Akira shouted, but it was too late. A beam of coruscating energy lanced out from a high ship, annihilating 3 human cruisers in an instant. As the battle turned against them, Akira made a snap decision. All ships, fall back to Rally Point Gamma. Echo Squadron, initiate Operation Trojan Horse. A small, sleek vessel broke away from the main fleet, streaking towards the hive ship. On board, a team of Earth's best scientists and special forces operatives prepared for a mission that would either turn the tide of the war or end in spectacular failure. Dr. Saito's voice crackled over the comm. "Remember, Commander, we only get one shot at this. If we can plant the quantum destabilizer in their main reactor." "I know," Akira replied tersely. "It's all or nothing." As the main fleet retreated, drawing the swarm's attention, the infiltration team slipped past the alien defenses. Using technology reverse-engineered from salvaged swarm ships, they managed to dock undetected. What they found inside the hive ship would haunt Akira's dreams for years to come. Vast chambers filled with countless pods, each containing a grotesque fusion of human and alien DNA. The swarm wasn't just invading, they were transforming humanity into something else. "My God," Dr. Saito whispered, her face pale in the sickly light of the alien ship. "This is why they targeted children. They're more adaptable." Rage boiled in Akira's veins. "Then we end this. Now, plant the destabilizer and let's send these monsters back to whatever hell spawned them." The team fought their way to the ship's core, facing waves of drone-like warriors. The quantum destabilizer was successfully planted, but at a heavy cost. Of the 12-person team, only Akira, Dr. Saito, and 2 others remained standing. As they raced back to their ship, alarms blared throughout the hive ship. They had been discovered. "We'll never make it to the extraction point," one of the surviving soldiers gasped, clutching a bleeding wound. Akira made a decision that would be debated by historians for centuries to come. "Dr. Saito, take Jensen and get to the ship. I'll hold them off." "But Commander, that's an order. Humanity needs your brain more than it needs my trigger finger. Go." As Saito and Jensen reluctantly retreated, Akira turned to face the oncoming horde. He thought of Earth, of the billions lost, of the children stolen and twisted by these abominations. With a primal roar, he charged into the mass of alien bodies. The quantum destabilizer detonated as Sato's ship cleared the high ship-stocking bay. The massive vessel imploded, taking a significant chunk of the swarm fleet with it. And somewhere in that maelstrom of light and energy, Commander Akira Tanaka's sacrifice ensured that humanity would live to fight another day. As the battered human fleet limped home, Dr. Saito clutched a data core she had managed to steal from a hive ship. Within its alien circuits lay the key to understanding the swarm, and perhaps, just perhaps, a way to defeat them once and for all. The battle for Neptune's orbit was over. The war for Earth's survival was just beginning. And thanks to the heroism of Akira and countless others like him, humanity had something it had been sorely lacking since that terrible day 6 months ago. Hope. The quantum uprising. The subterranean halls of New Geneva buzzed with anticipation. 1 year after the Battle of Neptune, humanity's last stand was about to begin. Dr. Yuki Saito stood before a gathered assembly of Earth's remaining leaders, her eyes blazing with determination. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice echoing through the cavernous chamber, "I present to you Project Lazarus." A holographic display flickered to life, showing a swirling vortex of energy surrounding a sleek, almost organic-looking ship. Using the data we recovered from the Swarm Hive ship, we've unlocked the secret of their quantum drive technology, Yuki continued. But we've taken it a step further. We're not just copying their tech, we're revolutionizing it. General Hawthorne leaned forward, her brow furrowed. Explain it to us in simple terms, Doctor. What exactly are we looking at? Yuki's lips curled into a fierce smile. Imagine a ship that doesn't just travel through space, but through the very fabric of reality itself. A vessel that can phase in and out of our dimension at will, becoming effectively invulnerable to conventional weapons. A murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd. For the first time since the invasion, there was a palpable sense of hope in the air. But that's not all, Yuki pressed on. We've also developed a way to disrupt the Swarm's hive mind. A quantum virus that will turn their greatest strength into their ultimate weakness. As the implications sank in, the chamber erupted into a cacophony of voices. Questions, concerns, and excited speculation flew back and forth. General Hawthorne raised a hand, silencing the crowd. This is incredible work, Dr. Sato, she said, her voice filled with cautious optimism. But we're talking about technology far beyond our current understanding. How can we be sure it won't backfire? Yuki's expression grew somber. We can't. Not with absolute certainty. But I can tell you this. I've run every simulation, every test possible. And I truly believe this is our best shot at not just surviving, but winning this war. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. The prototype ship, christened the Quantum Wraith, underwent final preparations. A hand-picked crew of Earth's finest pilots, scientists, and soldiers trained relentlessly for the mission that would determine the fate of humanity. Captain Elena Vasquez, a decorated fighter pilot and one of the few survivors of the initial swarm attack, was chosen to lead the mission. As she stood before the Quantum Wraith, its hull shimmering with barely contained energy, she felt a mix of awe and trepidation. "It's beautiful," she murmured, running a hand along the ship's smooth surface. "And deadly," added Dr. Sato, approaching from behind. "Elena, I need you to understand something. This ship, it's not just a weapon, it's a key to unlocking the very nature of our reality. Use it wisely." Elena nodded sullenly. "I will, Yuki, I promise." The day of launch arrived with a sense of electric anticipation. As the Quantum Wraith prepared to depart from its hidden lunar base, a message was broadcast to every remaining human settlement on Earth and throughout the solar system. "People of Earth," General Hawthorne's voice rang out, "today we take the fight to the enemy. Today, we show the swarm that humanity will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day." The speech, reminiscent of ancient films about alien invasions, brought tears to the eyes of millions. It was cheesy, perhaps, but it kindled a fire in the hearts of a battered species on the brink of extinction. As the Quantum Wraith shot towards the heart of swarm-controlled space, facing in and out of reality like a ghostly apparition, Elena couldn't help but feel the weight of history on her shoulders. "All systems nominal," reported her XO, Commander Raj Patel. "Quantum drive stable. We're ready to make the jump to the swarm homeworld." Elena took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the activation switch. "For Earth," she whispered, "for Akira, for every child they stole from us." With a blinding flash of light, the Quantum Wraith vanished from known space, hurtling towards a confrontation that would reshape the galaxy. Little did they know, the true nature of the swarm and the cosmic horror that drove their actions was beyond anything they could have imagined. As they emerged in orbit around a planet that defied the laws of physics, the crew of the Quantum Wraith realized that their mission had just become far more complicated and far more important. The swarm homeworld pulsed with an otherworldly energy, its surface a twisted landscape of impossible geometries and writhing biomechanical structures. It was as if reality itself was breaking down around them. "My God," Elena breathed, her eyes wide with a mixture of terror and awe. "What are we looking at?" Dr. Sato, who had insisted on joining the mission despite the risks, leaned forward to study the sensor readings. Her face paled. It's not just a planet, it's a gateway, a portal to somewhere else." As they watched in stunned silence, massive tendrils of energy erupted from the planet's surface, reaching out into the void of space. And in their wake came more swarm ships than they had ever seen before. Countless high ships, each capable of devastating entire worlds, poured forth from the cosmic rift. It was an armada that could overwhelm not just Earth, but every inhabited world in the galaxy. "We're too late," Commander Patel whispered, his voice filled with despair. But Elena's eyes narrowed with determination. "No," she said firmly. "We're right on time. This isn't just about saving Earth anymore. It's about saving the entire universe." As alarms blared and the crew scrambled to battle stations, Elena made a decision that would echo through the annals of history. "Prepare to deploy the quantum virus," she ordered, "and set a collision course for the center of that rift. We're going to close it from the inside." The quantum wraith surged forward, its revolutionary drives pushing it to speeds that defied comprehension. As they plunged towards the heart of the swarm homeworld, facing through waves of enemy ships, Elena sent one final message back to Earth. "We found it. The source. Tell them we won't let it through, whatever it takes." In a blinding flash of quantum energy, the quantum wraith vanished into the rift, carrying with it humanity's last, desperate hope for survival. Back on Earth, as Dr. Sato's virus ripped through the swarm's hive mind, causing their ships to fall into disarray, the skies lit up with an otherworldly light. For a moment, it seemed as if reality itself held its breath. Then, with a soundless explosion that shook the very fabric of space-time, the rift collapsed. The swarm armada, cut off from its source, began to disintegrate. In the years that followed, humanity would rebuild. They would venture out into the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians against the cosmic horrors that lurked in the depths of the universe. And on every world they visited, they would tell the tale of the quantum wraith and its brave crew, the ones who stared into the abyss and against all odds emerged victorious. The war was over. The age of cosmic enlightenment had begun, and humanity, tempered by fire and sacrifice, was ready to take its place among the stars, echoes of eternity. The year is 2150, a century after humanity's desperate gambit against the swarm. Earth has been reborn, its scars slowly healing under the watchful eye of a united global government. But the price of victory still weighs heavily on the collective consciousness of the human race. Dr. Aria Chen, great-granddaughter of Lieutenant Chen, who served during the initial swarm invasion, stood before the Quantum Memorial in New Geneva. The shimmering holographic display showed the faces of billions lost during the war, forever cycling through a silent tribute. "Aria," a voice called out. She turned to see her colleague, Dr. Zain Abdul, jogging towards her. His expression was a mix of excitement and apprehension. "You need to see this. Now." In the heart of the Quantum Research Institute, a team of scientists huddled around a pulsing orb of energy suspended in a containment field. Aria's eyes widened as she recognized the signature. "Is that?" Zain nodded grimly. "It's a quantum echo from the Wraith." The room fell silent. The quantum Wraith, piloted by the legendary Captain Elena Vasquez, had disappeared into the cosmic rift 100 years ago, saving Earth but leaving countless questions unanswered. "How is this possible?" Aria whispered, her mind racing with the implications. "We don't know," Zain replied, "but it's not just an echo. There's a message." With trembling hands, Aria activated the decryption sequence. A flickering hologram materialized, showing a face that had become iconic in humanity's history, Captain Elena Vasquez, looking far older than in any known recording. To whoever receives this, the hologram began, its voice distorted but unmistakable. "I pray it reaches you in time. The rift, It didn't just lead to another place, it led to another time. We've been fighting the swarm across eons, preventing them from breaking through to your reality. Gasps echoed through the lab as the implications sank in. Elena's image flickered, showing signs of stress and exhaustion. But we're losing ground. The entity behind the swarm, it's beyond anything we could have imagined. It feeds on entire universes, and it's set its sights on yours. Elena's hologram leaned forward, her eyes blazing with intensity. You need to prepare. The quantum virus bought you time, but it won't hold forever. Look to the stars, find the Forerunner artifacts. They're the key toe. The message cut off abruptly, leaving the room in stunned silence. Aria's mind whirled with questions. Forerunner artifacts, an entity that devoured universes. It seemed impossible, and yet. We need to inform the council, Zane said, breaking the silence. This changes everything. Within hours, humanity's leaders had convened in an emergency session. The revelation that the swarm threat was not truly over sent shockwaves through society. Panic threatened to grip the populace, but a century of unity in the face of cosmic threats had tempered humanity's resolve. World President Yarambeki addressed the global population, her hologram appearing in every home and public square across Earth and its colonies. Citizens of Earth and her dominions, she began, her voice steady and resolute. A century ago, our species faced extinction. We survived through courage, ingenuity, and sacrifice. Today, we face a new challenge, but we face it not as a frightened, divided species we once were, but as a galactic civilization ready to take its place among the stars. She paused, letting her words sink in. I am hereby initiating Project Starfall. We will scour the galaxy for these Forerunner artifacts. We will unlock their secrets, and we will stand ready to face whatever horrors the universe may hold. As Yura's speech concluded, a new sense of purpose swept across humanity. The complacency of peacetime was replaced by a burning desire to uncover the mysteries left by their predecessors. Aria found herself at the forefront of this new endeavor. As Earth's fleets began to push deeper into uncharted space, she led a team of researchers dedicated to understanding the quantum echoes and deciphering their secrets. Months passed and discoveries began to mount. Strange structures were found on distant moons, their technology defying known physics. Ancient warning beacons, left by long-extinct alien races, painted a picture of a cyclical threat that had plagued the galaxy for millions of years. But it was on a remote planet, circling a dying star, that Aria made the breakthrough that would change everything. It's not just an artifact, she breathed, staring at the massive structure before her. It's a quantum supercomputer, and it's still active. As her team worked to interface with the alien technology, a holographic figure materialized. It was not human, nor any known alien species. Its form shifted and flickered, as if struggling to maintain coherence in our reality. Greetings, children of Earth, it spoke, its voice resonating in their minds rather than their ears. We are the echo of the Forerunners. We have waited eons for beings worthy of our legacy. The entity comes, the cycle nears its end, but in you, we see a spark of hope. The hologram expanded, showing a map of the galaxy unlike anything they had seen before. Streams of energy flowed between stars, forming a cosmic web of unimaginable complexity. This is the quantum nexus, the echo explained. The entity seeks to devour it, to absorb the very essence of reality itself. But with this knowledge, you may yet stand a chance. As the echo began to download its vast repository of knowledge into their systems, Aria felt a sense of both wonder and trepidation. They were about to leap into a cosmic war beyond anything humanity had faced before. But as she looked at her team, seeing the determination in their eyes, she knew that they were ready. Humanity had evolved. They were no longer just survivors. They were guardians of reality itself. As the quantum data streamed into their devices, Aria sent a message back to Earth. We found it. The key to everything. Prepare for Ascension Protocol. The next phase of human evolution begins now. Little did they know, their actions had not gone unnoticed. Across the vast gulfs of space and time, an ancient intelligence stirred. The entity had sensed a new player in the cosmic game, and it was intrigued. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate not just of humanity, but of all reality. The quantum war was about to begin. Quantum ascension. The skies above New Earth pulsed with ethereal energy as humanity prepared for its greatest transformation. Dr. Aria Chen stood atop the massive Nexus spire, her eyes fixed on the swerving vortex of quantum particles above. The Ascension Protocol was minutes away from activation. Final checks complete, Zane's voice crackled through her neural implant. The global quantum network is primed and ready. Aria took a deep breath, feeling the weight of 7 billion souls resting on her shoulders. Initiate the sequence. Across the planet, and throughout humanity's solar colonies, billions of people lay in specially designed pods. The fruits of a decade's worth of research into the Forerunner artifacts were about to be put to the ultimate test. As the quantum field intensified, Aria felt a tingling sensation spread throughout her body. The physical world began to blur, replaced by a realm of pure information and energy. She was everywhere and nowhere, her consciousness expanding beyond the limits of her mortal form. Suddenly, a massive presence made itself known in the quantum realm. It was vast, ancient, and hungry. The entity, Aria gasped, her thoughts echoing across the collective consciousness of humanity. Insignificant motifs of dust, the entity's voice boomed, shaking the very fabric of reality. You dare to trespass in realms beyond your comprehension. But humanity was not alone. The echo of the Forerunners, now fully integrated into the quantum network, stood as a bulwark against the cosmic horror. You shall not pass, devourer, the echo declared. The children of Earth are under our protection. What followed was a battle unlike anything the universe had ever witnessed. In the quantum realm, thought became reality. Humanity, guided by the echo's ancient wisdom, shaped the very stuff of creation into weapons and shields. Aria found herself at the forefront of the conflict, her expanded consciousness directing vast energies against the entity's onslaught. Stars were born and died in instants. Entire realities collapsed and reformed. But the entity was relentless. For every attack they repelled, it seemed to grow stronger, feeding on the energy of the conflict itself. It's too strong. Zane's thoughts rang out in despair. We can't hold it back forever. Aria's mind raced, processing eons of information in microseconds. Then, a spark of inspiration hit her. We're fighting it the wrong way, she realized. We can't destroy it, but we can change it. Drawing upon the deepest secrets of the quantum nexus, Aria began to weave a new pattern in the fabric of reality. Instead of resisting the entity, she embraced it, guiding its vast energies into a new form. What are you doing? The echo asked, its voice filled with awe. Creating a new universe, Aria replied, her consciousness stretched to its limits. One where the entity's hunger becomes a force of creation, not destruction. The entity roared in defiance, but it was too late. The quantum energies shifted, and a new cosmos burst into existence. The entity, trapped within this newborn reality, found its very nature transformed. As the quantum storm subsided, humanity's collective consciousness began to return to their physical forms, but they were forever changed. The Ascension Protocol had elevated them to a new plane of existence, bridging the gap between the physical and the quantum. Aria opened her eyes, seeing the world with new clarity. The air shimmered with quantum potential, and she could feel the thoughts and emotions of every human being on the planet. We did it, Zane said, his voice filled with wonder. We've become, what have we become? Something new, Aria replied, a smile playing on her lips. Something wonderful. In the days that followed, humanity began to explore its new capabilities. They could manipulate matter and energy with a thought, travel vast distances through quantum tunnels, and access the accumulated knowledge of the entire species instantaneously. But with great power came great responsibility. The echo of the Forerunners, its purpose fulfilled, prepared to fade away. But before it did, it left humanity with a final warning. "You have ascended, children of Earth," it said. "But you are not alone in the cosmos. There are other threats, other entities, waiting in the dark between realities. You must be vigilant. You must be guardians." As the echo disappeared, Aria felt a new sense of purpose fill her. Humanity had survived extinction, transcended its physical limitations, and reshaped a cosmic horror into a force of creation. But their journey was far from over. "So," Zane said, his thoughts mingling with hers in the quantum field, "what's next?" Aria's gaze turned to the stars, which now seemed closer than ever before. "We explore," she said. "We learn, we grow, and we make sure that what happened to us never happens to anyone else." As New Earth pulsed with newfound energy, quantum ships began to take shape in orbit. A new age of exploration was dawning. Humanity, once on the brink of annihilation, now stood as guardians of the multiverse. The quantum age had begun, and the greatest adventure in human history was just getting started. Echoes of infinity. The quantum streams of the cosmos pulsed with anticipation as humanity's first multiversal expedition prepared to depart. Dr. Aria Chen, now bearing the title of Quantum Architect, stood before the assembled crew of the starship Ouroboros. "Today, we embark on a journey beyond anything our ancestors could have imagined," Aria began, her voice resonating both audibly and through the shared quantum consciousness of the crew. "We are no longer bound by the limits of a single universe. The multiverse awaits." The Ouroboros was a marvel of post-ascension technology, a living ship grown from a fusion of human ingenuity and forerunner wisdom. It existed simultaneously across multiple realities, allowing it to navigate the treacherous waters between universes. As the ship prepared to make its first jump, alarms suddenly blared across every deck. Zane, now the Ouroboros quantum navigator, called out in alarm. "Massive distortion in the local multiverse. Something's coming through." Before their eyes, reality itself seemed to tear open. From the swirling vortex emerged a ship that defied comprehension. It was familiar, yet impossibly ancient. By the echo, Aria gasped. It's the Quantum Wraith." The legendary ship that had saved humanity a century ago drifted before them, its hull scarred by ends of battle across countless realities. As they watched in awe, a transmission cut through the quantum static. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Quantum Wraith," a haggard voice announced. "We've been fighting a war across 1,000,000 universes and 1,000,000,000 years, and we've come to warn you, the entropy cascade is coming." The crew of the Ouroboros stood in stunned silence as Elena's hologram materialized on the bridge. She looked ancient, her eyes holding the weight of countless lifetimes. "The entity you faced," Elena continued, "was just a fragment. The true threat is the entropy cascade, a wave of uncreation that's consuming entire multiverses. We've been trying to stay ahead of it, but we're losing ground." Aria's mind raced, processing the implications. "How long do we have?" Elena's expression was grim. "In cosmic terms, the blink of an eye. In human terms, maybe 1,000 years, maybe less." The news sent shockwaves through the quantum network connecting all of humanity. Panic threatened to overwhelm their collective consciousness, but Aria stood firm. "We've faced extinction before," she declared, her thoughts reverberating across the new sphere. "We've transcended our physical forms. We will not falter now." Over the next months, humanity threw itself into preparing for the greatest threat it had ever faced. The Ouroboros and its sister ships probed the farthest reaches of the multiverse, gathering allies and ancient knowledge. They encountered wonders beyond imagination, civilizations that had evolved into pure energy, universes where the laws of physics were rewritten on a whim, and beings so vast they used galaxies as building blocks. But for every wonder, there was a horror. They found the desiccated husks of universes drained by the entropy cascade, witnessed entire realities collapse into singularities, and narrowly escaped pocket dimensions ruled by eldritch abominations that made the entity seem tame in comparison. Through it all, Aria and her crew pushed onwards, driven by the knowledge that all of existence hung in the balance. It was in the shadowed depths between universes that they made their most startling discovery. A vast structure, impossibly old and unimaginably complex, pulsed with an energy that seemed to hold the very fabric of the multiverse together. The Nexus Prime, the echo of the Forerunners, whispered in their shared consciousness, the axis upon which all realities turn. As they approached the cosmic megastructure, they realized they weren't alone. Ships from 1,000 different species, each representing the pinnacle of their respective civilizations, had gathered. A telepathic message reverberated across the assembled armada. Welcome, children of 1,000,000 worlds. You have been called here to make your stand against the end of all things. The source of the message revealed itself, a being of pure quantum energy, its form constantly shifting between all possible configurations. I am the architect, it announced, the last of those you know as the Forerunners. We built the Nexus Prime as a final defense against the entropy cascade, but we could not wield it alone. Aria stepped forward, her consciousness expanding to encompass the vast energies swirling around them. What do you need us to do? The architect's response was both thrilling and terrifying. To rewrite the fundamental laws of the multiverse itself, to create a new cosmic order that can withstand the cascade. What followed was a collaboration on a scale beyond comprehension. Every species brought their unique perspectives and technologies to bear. Aria found herself working alongside beings of pure thought, living stars and entities that existed in 11 dimensions. Together, they began to reshape reality at its most fundamental level. They wove new constants into the fabric of spacetime, created pocket universes to serve as buffers against the cascade, and engineered quantum fields that could redirect the energies of entropy itself. But even as they worked, the entropy cascade approached. They could feel reality fraying at the edges, entire universes winking out of existence with each passing moment. In the final hours, as the wave of uncreation bore down upon them, Aria made a fateful decision. Drawing upon the full power of humanity's collective consciousness, she merged her being with the Nexus Prime itself. Aria, no. Zane cried out, feeling her consciousness slip away. There has to be another way. But Aria's voice, now suffused with the power of creation itself, echoed across all realities. This is our purpose, Zane. This is why we ascended. Not just to survive, but to ensure that life, in all its infinite variety, will always have a chance to flourish. As the entropy cascade crashed against the shores of their reforged reality, Aria Now Nexus stood as a bulwark against oblivion. The energies of uncreation were caught, channeled, and transformed. Where there was entropy, now there was potential. Where there was an ending, now there was a new beginning. As the danger passed and the assembled species began to realize they had achieved the impossible, a new cosmic order took shape. The multiverse had been saved, but it would never be the same. Humanity, once a fledgling species on a single world, now stood as guardians of a new cosmic age. They had faced the end of all things and emerged transformed. Zane, gazing out at the newly born multiverse, felt Aria's presence all around him. She was gone, and yet she was everywhere. In the quantum strings that bound realities together, in the newborn stars igniting across countless universes, in the very thoughts of every sentient being. What now? He whispered to the cosmos. And though Aria was no more, he felt the answer resonate through his very being. Now we begin again. We explore, we learn, we grow, and we never forget the price of existence. As the assembled fleet of multiversal civilizations dispersed, each returning to their own realities, a new era dawned. The age of isolation was over. The age of infinite possibilities had begun. And somewhere, in the quantum phone between universes, the echo of humanity's greatest triumph would resonate for eternity. The quantum renaissance. In the wake of the entropy cascade's defeat, a new cosmic order emerged. The multiverse, once a chaotic tangle of isolated realities, now pulsed with unified purpose. At the heart of this transformation stood humanity, ascended beyond their wildest dreams and bearing a responsibility greater than they could have ever imagined. Zane, now bearing the title of Prime Mediator, found himself at the center of an unprecedented gathering. The grand conclave of realities had convened, bringing together representatives from 1,000,000 universes. The venue itself defied conventional understanding, a nexus point where countless dimensions overlapped, allowing beings of wildly different physics to coexist. Order. Zane's voice resonated across realities, quieting the assembled multitude. We stand at the dawn of a new age. The entropy cascade has been thwarted, but our work is far from over. As he spoke, the air shimmered with quantum potential. Holographic displays sprang to life, showing the intricate web of connections now binding the multiverse together. At key junctures, pulsing nodes represented the fragments of areas consciousness, forever merged with the cosmic framework. Project Harmony begins now, Zane declared. Our goal, to create a sustainable, thriving multiversal ecosystem. The challenges were immense. How do you govern a society spanning infinite realities? How do you balance the needs of civilizations operating on fundamentally different laws of physics? The solutions required thinking beyond anything humanity had ever attempted. Enter the Quantum Concordat, a living, evolving agreement that adapted in real time to the needs of the multiverse. Powered by hyper-advanced AI that made pre-ascension computers look like abacuses, the Concordat could process quintillions of variables per nanosecond, ensuring fair representation and resource distribution across realities. But it wasn't all politics and cosmic governance. The quantum renaissance brought about an explosion of art, culture, and scientific discovery that defied imagination. The harmonic spheres, massive Dyson swarms that captured the energy of entire galaxies, converting it into universe-spanning symphonies. The music of the spheres was no longer a metaphor, but a tangible reality that beings across the multiverse could experience. The Mobius Institute, a university that looked back on itself through time and space, where students could learn from their future selves and engage in experiments that lasted millennia from an outside perspective, but mere moments for the participants. The probability forges, vast cosmic engines that tapped into the quantum foam itself, allowing for the creation of custom-tailored pocket universes. Want to experience a world where the dinosaurs never went extinct? Or see how Earth might have evolved if it had 2 moons? The forges could make it a reality. As wondrous as these achievements were, they paled in comparison to the greatest project of the age, the Area Protocol. Named in honor of the woman who sacrificed herself to save the multiverse, the Area Protocol was humanity's most ambitious undertaking yet. Its goal, to elevate every sentient species to the level of quantum ascension that humanity had achieved. We were given this gift, Zane explained to the conclave. It's our duty to share it. The implications were staggering. Entire civilizations, some barely out of their stone age, others already spanning galaxies, would be offered the chance to transcend their physical forms and join the cosmic community. But with great power came great responsibility. The ascension process was delicate, and if handled improperly, could lead to disaster. Safeguards had to be put in place to prevent newly ascended races from abusing their power or descending into madness. This is where the shepherds came in. Drawn from the ranks of humanity's most empathetic and wise individuals, the shepherds would guide fledgling ascended species through their transformation. Part diplomats, part teachers, part cosmic tour guides, the shepherds became legends across the multiverse. As the quantum renaissance unfolded, new challenges emerged. The remnants of the entity, though transformed, still existed in the dark corners between realities. Rogue ascended beings, drunk on their newfound power, sometimes threatened the cosmic balance. And always there was the looming question: what lay beyond the multiverse? What new frontiers awaited? Zane found himself grappling with these issues and more, but in quiet moments, when the weight of infinite realities seemed almost too much to bear, he would reach out with his quantum-enhanced senses and feel the pulse of the cosmos. In the harmonious rhythm of countless universes working in concert, he felt Aria's presence. Her sacrifice had made all this possible, and though the challenges ahead were great, Zane knew that humanity and the grand tapestry of ascended beings they now called allies were equal to the task. As he prepared to address the conclave once more, laying out plans for the next phase of multiversal cooperation, Zane allowed himself a small smile. From a primitive species huddling on a single world, humanity had become the caretakers of infinity itself. The quantum renaissance was more than just a new chapter in history. It was the beginning of a story that would span eternity. And every ascended being, every newly uplifted civilization, every wonder yet to be discovered, they were all part of Aria's legacy. In the grand dance of quantum possibilities, humanity had found its rhythm, and the music of creation had never sounded sweeter.